My season started off this year in September. I traveled to Kansas to meet Chuck and James for an early muzzleloader hunt. While we were hunting in Kansas, I filmed Chuck taking a nice buck on the first afternoon of the hunt.
Well, it's the first day in early season muzzleloader here in Kansas with Innovative Outfitters with Justin Hammond.
We hunted several more days in Kansas after Chuck took his buck, and we spent some quality time together. The full moon was really making hunting tough. The deer just weren't moving. I got close on my last night in Kansas, but I went home without filling my tag. I guess you could say I got skunked. Now we fast forward to early December, and Eddie and I are headed north to hunt with Ryan Michl at Illinois Wildlife Connections. Ryan and his family have been farming their leases for 4 generations. They have big farms, big equipment, and grow big bucks. This is my second trip to hunt with Ryan. Last year I was able to take my first Illinois Whitetail. Days of hunting. It's a late muzzleloader season here. Second day. Man, we didn't think we were going to see anything this morning. A couple of squirrels and a couple of birds was about it. And the deer just started showing up all at once. Eddie and I are in the stand well before daylight, and he's up to bat first. First deer we saw that morning was a buck, and he came to the perfect spot, but he was just about 3 years too early. We had a few snow flurries, then another buck came by, but he didn't hang around very long. Then the snow really started to come down. We sat in the stand the rest of the day and didn't see a whole lot except for a big fat squirrel. After sundown, we headed back to the lodge to get ready for day 2. That night at the lodge, Ryan showed us some trail cam pictures of a buck he called the Birdcage 10. Now last year this buck was a clean 8-point, but this year he had really blown up. The farm where this buck lived had been quail hunted in the past and had an old bird cage on it. It was a narrow creek bottom with standing beans, standing corn, and a biologic food plot. On the other end of the creek bottom was a small patch of CRP, and our stand was located right between the bedding area and the food. The forecast was for a cold, clear morning, and it was my turn to hunt. We sprayed down with dead downwind, turned off the camera light, and headed quietly into the stand. It's not easy to go in quiet when you have to hang a camera stand, your camera arm, your second angle camera, and get all your gear in the tree before daylight. This was one of those perfect mornings to be in the deer woods, clear and cold with a heavy frost. It wasn't long before a couple of does came by. After watching the does in this thick creek bottom, we knew that if a buck showed up, it might have to happen fast, and all the planets would have to line up for it to come together. Just as the sun was rising on a cold, frosty morning in Illinois, another group of does came by and Big Boy was bringing up the rear.
Shooter buck behind us. He's over yonder across the creek. That's where them does are coming from. See him? I'm gonna try to get my gun. See him yet? Do you see him? He's up the ditch from that doe that just ran across. He's gonna come out right here where this doe's at in front of us. You see this doe right here below me? He's right behind her. You see him? You got him? Right there. He's down. He's down. He's down. Ooh, son, that is a good looking buck right there. Oh. When Ryan dropped us off in here this morning, he said there's a couple of bucks in here that's a no doubt buck, and son, that is a no doubt buck right there. Whew. It's our second morning hunting here with Ryan Michl at Illinois Wildlife Connections, South Central Illinois. Eddie and I came up here, hunted yesterday, had snow and a little bit of wind and didn't see much. Ryan brought us over to this place this morning. It's a real narrow finger of woods, the little creek bottom coming through. We got CRP on one side and just big fields all around us. And a group of does started coming through, and they just kept coming, and the bigger deer walked out behind them, and I got my binoculars up, and man, that is a slammer right there. That is a huge, huge Illinois buck. And he is on the ground. Heck of a trail. Ought to be close. I think he's growing a little bit. He's laying in the grass right there.
What do you think about that, Nedley?
Definitely.
Look at that big dog. When we came in here this morning, Ryan said, you may not see many deer in here, but there's a couple in here that's no doubters. That means there ain't no doubt when you see them, you need to be backing the hammer, and this is one of them. That is an absolute Illinois monster whitetail. That is without a doubt the biggest deer that I've ever laid my hands on right there. That's the biggest deer. The white nose, a big red head. That's what it's all about right there. That's 2 trips to Illinois Wildlife Connections with the CVA. 2 power belts down the pipe and 2 bucks on the ground. That's what you need right there. If you're looking for a whitetail hunt of a lifetime, contact Ryan Michl at Illinois Wildlife Connections at ilwildlifeconnections.com.